What is propaganda? PR. Same thing? Hey folks, it's Rio 855. Today we're going to talk about propaganda and PR and the man who really invented it, uh, Edward Bernays. Yes, Edward Bernays. He invented PR, um, propaganda, and we're just going to look at him and what what this has become today. Let me give you a little history and a little info on the man. Edward Bernays, born November 22nd, 1891 in Vienna, Austria. Died March 9th, 1995 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Pioneer American publicist who is generally considered to have been the first to develop the idea of professional public relations. Counselor, one who was drawn on the social science in order to motivate and shape the response of a general or particular audience. Excuse me. Bernays was a year when his parents moved to New York City from Austria, where his uncle, the psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud, was beginning his work. His mother was Freud's sister, Anna, and his father was a successful grain merchant. After graduating from high school at the age of 16, Bernays attended Cornell University, where to placate his father, he earned a degree in agriculture in 1912. He abandoned the farm products after a brief obligatory sally into the grain market and found work editing a medical review. Excuse me. This brought to his attention a play, Damaged Goods, whose would-be producer found popular taboos against the subject, venereal disease, and Super Bowl. Bernays organized a scheme to muster endorsements of the play by civic leaders, and as a result, the play was produced successfully, and Bernays found his true calling. Wow. Okay, after World War II, Bernays, Doris Fleshman, 1891-1980, whom he later married, opened their own public relations office. Their first clients included the United States War Department, which wanted to persuade businesses to hire returning war veterans, and the Lithuanian government, which was lobbying for recognition by the United States for one client, Vanita Harnets. Bernays publicized the danger of the women's workers wearing long, loose hair in factories and restaurants. As a result, several United States passed laws requiring factory workers and female food service employees to wear hairnets. He organized soap carving competitions for the ivory soap of his clients, Procter and Gamble. Wow. A vigorous spokesman and advocate for the public relations into his 90s. Sorry, Bernays was the author of many books. Among the most influential was which were Crystallizing Public Opinion, 1923, Propaganda, 1928, and Public Relations, 1952. He edited Engineering of the Consent, 1955, the title of which is oft-quoted definition of public relations. Wow. So yeah, he was the man basically that create public relations. And like for instance, you look at the George Washington Hill, the work of the groundbreaking publicist Edward Bernays. Hill became president of the firm upon his father's death in 1925, and by the following year, Lucky Strike accounted for 1/5 of the U.S. cigarette sales. In 1927, he created an industry sensation by gearing advertising towards women for the first time. Yeah, female. Basically a march, you know, saying females to smoke. A march down in New York had women smokers in the 20s. And all of a sudden, you see women smoking. In the movies, you see women smoking everywhere. That boosted sales of cigarettes. Yeah. Public relations once was defined by Edward Bernays, one of his pioneers, as an engineering consent. The characterization is accurate, but out of content, it oversimplifies and has been used to attack public relations as cynical and manipulative. The real task of public relations is the business world. That's right. Sigmund Freud, Australian neurologist, founder of psychoanalysis. Freud article on psychoanalysis appeared in 13th edition Encyclopedia Britannica. Freud may justly be. Wow. And you just see some of these things. You see a lot of what public relations and Bernays, what he has influenced. And to this day, you see all this. And what has accomplished. Yeah, in the books and some of the things, the notable clients, like Procter and Gamble, Dixie Cup, especially American Tobacco. If you put a PR campaign on anything, just saying, hey, something is bad for you, but if you can tell them something is good for you and you keep telling them over and over again, people are going to believe it. So, just like hot dogs or something, you got to promote hot dogs, and that the mysterious meat might not be good, but you're going to keep promoting it, put a campaign behind a PR campaign, and hey, people are going to eventually buy it. And in the 1950s or the 40s, especially with TV, was a strong medium where people start buying this stuff. Say, hey, they doing commercials about it, so it's not that bad. The cigarette industry, which is still a multi-billion-dollar industry today, tobacco, and we know that it's bad for you, but hey, we still can promote it and make it seem like it's good, but it's still bad. But they tell you it's bad, but people still gonna buy it because the public relations, the propaganda behind it goes back years ago. You talking about almost 100 years ago, where hey, we got them. And let's look at a few more things. Bernays worked with Procter and Gamble and Ivory brand soap. The campaign successfully convinced people that Ivory soap was medically superior to other soaps. He also promoted soap through sculpturing contests and floating contests because of the soap floated better than competing products. Bernays used his uncle Sigmund Freud ideas to help convince the public, among other things, that bacon and eggs was the true all-American breakfast. Yes, this man also taught us that to eat bacon and eggs every day. Before then, people wasn't eating bacon and eggs every day. So you wonder where that came from, where your bacon and eggs breakfast came from. Oh yeah, Bernays. Bernays told us, hey, this is what you should eat every morning. In the 1930s, his Dixie Cup campaign was designed to convince consumers that only disposable cups were sanitary by linking the imagery of an overflowing cup with subliminal images of vaginas and venereal disease. Director. He was the publicity director for the 1939 New York World's Fair. Sorry about that. Another selections from his papers, The Typescript of Publicizing the Physical Culture Industry, 1927. Bernays McFadden reveals Bernays' opinion of the leader of the physical culture movement. Yet another client, department store visionary Edward A. Filing, was the subject of the typescript of a Boston department store magnate. Bernays' typescript of the importance of Samuel Strauss' 1924 private life shows that public relation counsels and his wife were fans of consumerism. Samuel Strauss, critic Samuel Strauss. Wow, and you see that he built these businesses through public relations. A lot of these people that had struggling businesses needed his help, so the propaganda machine works. Still to this day, to promote your album or your music, your movies, you need that PR propaganda. It's basically a big lie. Joseph Goebbels of the Nazi movement was big in propaganda, where he, put that in his main subject for Germany, where he put propaganda in there, uh, uh, full of lies. Where, hey, this is good, this is good. We're gonna tell you the Jews are bad, and people start believing it. You can start believing everything. Okay, another one. In 1924, Bernays set up a vaudeville pancakes breakfast for Calvin Coolidge to change his stuffy image before the 1924 election. Yeah, we know Calvin Coolidge was laid-back president. Entertainers included Al Jolson, blackface himself, John Drew, Raymond Hitchcock, and the Dolly sisters performed on the White House lawn. The event was widely reported by American newspapers, with New York Times running the story under the headline "President Nearly Laughs." A desperate Herbert Hoover consulted with Bernays a month before the 1932 presidential election. Bernays advised Hoover to create disunity within the opposition and to present an image of himself as an invincible leader. Yeah, Hoover during the Depression needed his help. So you get presidents need this help. For example, you look at Roger Ailes at the time, doing in the Reagan era, with the propaganda, and going on into even the Trump era. Where you think "Make America Great Again" came from? Roger Ailes. A lot of Reagan and you look at Trump. They wasn't what you call the brightest of all. They need that help, especially from people, the propaganda machines. So Roger Ailes was another modern day Bernays. So you look at the influences to to make sure that propaganda will sink in and take over. Yeah, let's get back to the tobacco. In 1927, Bernays worked briefly with Liggett and Myers, makers of Chesterfield cigarettes. He pulled a stunt against the competing brand Lucky Strike, which involved a mocking endorsement of opera singers who said Lucky Strikes were kind to your voice. George Washington Hill, head of the American Tobacco Company, which made Lucky Strike, promptly hired Bernays away from Liggett and Myers. When he started working for the American Tobacco Company, Bernays was given an objective of increasing Lucky Strike sales among women who, for the most part, had formerly avoided smoking. The first strategy was to persuade women to smoke cigarettes instead of eating. Yeah. Bernays began by promoting the idea of thinness itself, using photographers, artists, newspapers, and magazines to promote the special beauty of thin women. Medical authorities were found to promote the choice of cigarettes over sweets. Homemakers were cautioned that keeping cigarettes on hand was a social necessity. Wow. So that's what that came up, the smoking, the thin, being thin, smoking with women, again, as Bernays convinced everybody. So he worked for Lucky Strike and he worked for Liggett and Myers Tobacco, Chesterfield and Lucky Strike cigarettes. Wow. See, that's propaganda again. You can work both PR machines. And PR, whether it's in police departments, whether it's in the music industry now, the movie industry, is everywhere, you know. And what is PR? Basically, it's propaganda. It's a lie. You make made up stories that are psychoanalysis and changing of the mind, basically mind control, if you want to say. Bernays was a genius at this. Okay, one more, then we're gonna call it United Fruit and Guatemala. The United Fruit Company, today's Chiquita Brands International, hired Bernays in the early 40s for the purpose of promoting banana sales within the United States. Promote them he did by linking bananas to good health and to American interests, and by placing them strategically in the hands of celebrities in hotels and other conspicuous places. Bernays also argued that United Fruit needed to put a positive spin on banana growing countries themselves, and for this purpose create a front group called the Middle American Information Bureau, which supplied information to the journalists and academics. United Fruit shut down the Middle America Information Bureau in 1948 under the new presidency of Thomas Dudley Cabot. Bernays resented this change but stayed on with the company for a reported annual fee of more than 100 grand. Bernays worked on the national press and successfully drummed up coverage of Guatemala's communist menace. The company became alarmed by the political situation in Guatemala after Jacob Arpanes Guzman became president in March 1951. On March 21st, 1951, Bernays told United Fruit's heads of publicity, Edward Whitman, that Guatemala could reprise Iran's recent nationalization of British petroleum. Wow. That is something. So, again, to boost sales of something, if you put PR propaganda behind it, you can. So you wonder why today some of the things you might eat, you might drink, smoke, you say, how did I come to this? Because the mind control of propaganda, they tell you to do this, and you easily can do it and sway. You can get into that brain, the psychoanalysis and psychoanalysts, and basically change it. Hey, you do this, you do that. So that's public relations, that's propaganda. Everybody has public relations and propaganda at their company. So it's a big thing, and I don't think it's a good thing because it's controlling your mind with a bunch of lies. But this is where we live in now. We can spin anything. We can lie about anything, and people love to believe a lie instead of the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear a lie. So people like Edward Bernays, created this and the propaganda machine, and it's still going on today in 2019. So I'm going to sign off. This Rio 855. I want you to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll be coming back with another video, and say peace, God bless, and thank you. Yeah, as we look at Bernays again, Edward Bernays, you see modern day PR today, public relations. You look at people like Trump, the buffoon he is. He'll do anything for publicity. Been doing it all his career just to get publicity, PR. You know, Donald Trump, Don King, same way. They'll do anything for PR. So when you hear things like the Make America Great Again campaign, you know, it's not coming from his mouth. This is something that Roger Ailes started, Fox News president at the time. And Trump just followed anything for he can win and be the president. But that's just PR. You think he gives a damn about these people? These same people that, you know, oh, I voted for him, I love him, I like him. He don't care. You know, it's all public relations to him. Plus publicity. He'll do anything for publicity. He don't care if it's bad publicity. You know, scammer, schemer, anything. So this what Edward Bernays has started. You know, the father of public relations, and it continues today, man. It is big. PR is really big, especially with the communication age, the internet, social media is everywhere. You know, they can trick you at any time and make up a lie, and people think it's the truth. You look at campaigns like the music industry, use it big time. The movies, they'll tell you that. Cary Grant and Godzilla had a baby, and you'll believe that. Yeah, yeah, they did have a baby. See, they'll tell you anything, any publicity to get to promote their movie or promote their music. And it's like in the music industry, it's times where people play crazy just to get more album sales. You know, Kanye do it all the time. You know, he probably have lost his mind now, but just to get the PR. Anything they feel they can get more fans, you know, just take for instance Kanye West. You know, you look at him, how he flip flop, where he's trying to get the pop fans, the crossover people on his side. See, he thinks that's the trending now. Now you get a different administration in, he's going to trend back. That PR machine just keep working. The publicity people, the public relations people, the one tell them to do that. You know, they control everything. It's not coming out their mouth. It's coming out the people that control the PR and public relations. Fox News is all PR, you know, and they want to control the dumb people that listen to those idiots. But that's public relations, started by the father of public relations, Edward Bernays, and is a machine now, a devilish machine that is spin and spun out of control. Yeah, this is Rio 855. I'm signing off, saying peace, God bless, and thank you.